This is a massive one. Why can't the referee just say, let's stop the game and let's go back 30 seconds?
Yeah, I heard quite a few people ask that question. I understand why people would ask that question. And actually, the VAR and the AVAR asked themselves that question too. When the penny dropped as to what had happened, I think 20 seconds had passed. And at that point, they considered whether or not they could intervene to stop the game, but they recognise that the laws of the game as set by FIFA and the International FA Board doesn't allow that. There's obviously a process in place that sits in the laws of the game about how we use VAR to make sure it's delivered consistently throughout every league in the world, and it doesn't allow you to go back in those circumstances, and as such they decided not to intervene. But I understand why that question was asked, and I know that the International FA Board are, in fact, before this situation happened, I knew they were going to do a full review of the laws of the game relating to the use of VAR. It's been in place for 7 years now. When it was written, there'd never been a game utilising VAR anywhere in the world. They put a protocol in place, and it served the game really well. But now we've got lived experience of situations like we saw this week, then, we can feed into that as well. And the IFAB will look at whether or not there's a need to tweak some of it. And I'm sure that they'll be looking at this aspect of how VAR is used as well.
6 years, 7 years ago, when you wasn't in the Prem, or let's say 5 years ago or 4 years ago, Atkinson will make a decision and said, like, that's a playing goal.
Yeah. Well, he did make a decision. He gave it.
And it should have been the
He was correct to give it.
But instead of going by himself, to watch the scene again, he's going off.
We've been arguing that all season long, Nigel. It's only the Premier League where that system operates. And I said yesterday, Andy, and I repeat what I've said, it really is about time Mike Riley was replaced, did the honest thing and removed himself from being in charge of this farce, because it's just getting worse and worse and worse.
I think Arsenal maybe got a bit tentative, before the game. We talked about Arsenal going on to win the game, but I think the longer the game went on from Arsenal's point of view, and they thought Liverpool looked comfortable in possession, they just probably thought, well, we'll maybe just take the draw. A point's not the end of the world from them. I think the worry for them would have been, I suppose, not you keep a clean sheet, you take a point, you're the positives, but that Liverpool kind of dominated the game so much. Okay, they had no cutting edge, but I think it was the way Arsenal didn't go and take the initiative. I think there was a bit of tension in the stadium, and obviously that will get worse in the latter part of the season. So that would be a worry. But all credit goes to Liverpool in terms of the way they dominated possession. Now, usually when you sit in, when I was watching Liverpool the first half, when Liverpool win it back, they weren't looking to break quickly. They were just looking to control the ball and kind of take the energy out of the stadium, which they've done perfectly well. The only disappointing thing from Liverpool is we just saw the stats there. No real cutting edge, didn't have enough quality. Yeah, they're missing important attacking players, but they showed a bit of fight, they showed a bit of swagger that they are champions, but still didn't have that, obviously, kind of belief, cutting edge, they'd score a goal.
In moments in the game, especially with injuries, I've been someone who's had injuries, and it's never a nice feeling. I can see maybe he's thinking, oh, time wasting, but brother, you got to be self-aware enough to know, like, okay, cool, the guy's down. Like, you've been there before. And it's just disrespectful, probably even worse than disrespectful, to be honest with you. It's just disappointing to see.
Know your players as well. Know your players. All of a sudden, the reaction, you could tell he's obviously injured.
In the sense that it wouldn't be something that Conor Bradley would do lightly?
Obviously not. I don't think he's the type of kid to do that. And if you're standing over, you don't know the injury the player's got. Again, it looks pretty bad. You're trying to push him off the pitch. Not good stuff, that.
It's a strange one, really, because I think that first half performance, you go in as a player typically, and the manager will get the videos out and he'll show you what's working, what they need to change in order to improve. And I think whatever information they got, I think Liverpool's conversations they had at half time probably were better. Arsenal didn't really seem to have a lot of solutions to break them down. Liverpool took a lot of the control out of the game. They found the outball to Frimpong, which they didn't use in the first half. That wasn't on as often. And to Roy's point, I don't think Arsenal took the initiative. There did feel like there was tension. It did feel as if the players were content a little bit. But of course, these are things that happen sometimes. As players, you go out there and you get that feeling like, damn, we should have broke them down. And then you come out second half, the other team starts better than you, and then you sort of think you go into your shell a little bit. It seemed that's how Arsenal kind of went into their shell a little bit. But he'll be proud of himself because he's had injuries this season. He's not a player who's been playing week in, week out. So he's finding his feet, he's finding his form. It was a big night for him tonight, especially filling in on the right wing, which isn't his natural position.
But should it be?
Sorry?
Should it be his natural position? I mean, where do you see his future in this Liverpool team? We might have seen an injury to Conor Bradley, so he might be forced back to right back.
I think he was signed as a right back, but he gives you so much flexibility. He could play on the left wing. Clearly, with the pace he's got, he's always going to be a threat running in behind. And that right wing position as well, he can play that position. So that's what it's about as a player. You want to give your manager.
He looks more comfortable higher up the pitch, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
He does look comfortable.
I mean, in the end, right, we can talk about the defensive side, which we've not really seen from him yet, but we know going forward, the threat he is tough.
And the game suited him tonight. You know, they were sitting in, there was going to be more space for him. So it was a kind of ideal game for him tonight.